Life's plot twists and setbacks. How do you deal? What examples do you have in your life of this happening to you? For those of you who do catch this replay, pop in the comments and let me know how this is resonating with you as we go along, and what examples from your own life you can share that we can all kind of say, me too, yeah, that happened to me, and connect. When have you faced a setback? How often does this come at a time in our lives when we thought that everything was going reasonably okay, at least in comparison to when this setback comes? Or maybe it's one of those last drop in the bucket sort of circumstances that rattles you and your confidence takes a nosedive. These setbacks can look like a number of different things. Let me know what they look like for you. For me, this week, it was a big trigger that popped up. This is an old trigger for me, and it still surprises me when that pesky thing comes back with a vengeance. And then we can go through the judgment of, oh, I thought I had cleaned this up, right? Like I thought I was over it more than this. What happened to all of this growth and all of this work that I've been doing? That judgment comes in. And I know that when these plot twists happen, we're feeling derailed when this stuff happens, but let's get curious with this just for today. No matter what it is that you're going through, if you can take a moment to just get curious, it may help the process. That's what these conversations are for, is just getting curious to help the process. We all want our lives to go with as few pitfalls as possible. But when those things happen, it doesn't mean that something went abnormally wrong. Plot twists are a normal part of many stories. It can suck, but it doesn't mean you're not doing a bang-up job at your life. Let's unpack this together as we go. I welcome your input as always. You know, when these plot twists happen and we get discouraged, first off, it can be a signal that we've got a little further to go, meaning that some of us, maybe we've asked consciously or subconsciously for a bit of growth in a certain area. Life gives us an opportunity to, hey, you said you wanted to get better at this. Bam, there it is. And then we're like, oh, no, I didn't choose that. Well, maybe on some level, we're asking to get better, personal growth in this particular area. So life gives us an opportunity that we say, well, hey, I didn't want it to look like that. Well, maybe it's just a reminder we've got a little further to go. A little further to go, meaning like, hey, our lives aren't over yet. There's still more to come, good and bad, however you label that stuff. There's a little bit more left for us. We're still alive, we're ticking. So it can be just a reminder that there's more out there for us. A lot of what can happen, I know that when we're feeling like, hey, life is pretty stable, it's going pretty well, and then something happens, there's a bit of a disappointment, maybe, or when it's going well, when we're in it, then before something happens, we can get that feeling of, when is the other shoe going to drop? Have you ever felt that? Like, life's going pretty well. Things are going all right with my family. Things are going all right with my job. Everything's kind of okay. Car's running great. What's coming around the bend, right? If you've ever heard Brene Brown talk about foreboding joy, that's exactly what that is. If you're curious, pop foreboding joy into a Google search and click on the Brene Brown references. Pretty interesting. It's a way that when things are going well, that we self-protect, that we armor up because we're afraid of being rattled. We're afraid of that vulnerability of when those setbacks happen. Brene I copied this quote here that she says, when we lose our tolerance for vulnerability, joy becomes foreboding. Maybe it's not even joy. Maybe it's just the status quo. Like, hey, all my ducks are in a row right now. Don't breathe, because I don't want one of them to get out of line. Maybe it's not joy. Maybe it's just things are stable and things are okay, and there's still that sense of foreboding. When is something going to go wrong? That is a self-protection mechanism. We can't control life and these plot twists. Again, recognizing that they're normal. Okay? For starters. And give yourself permission to be rattled. That's okay. You're human. If stuff goes wrong or not according to plan, it's normal for it to shake you a little bit. That's okay. Gosh, that means you care. That means you're human. It means you've got some feels. That's all right. That you're rattled. Give yourself permission to be uncomfortable. When these changes happen, you don't have to say that you should be better than this. Cut yourself a break. Yeah? Gosh, we could all have a little bit of permission to cut ourselves a break sometimes. Knowing that all growth, however it looks eventually, is preceded by a little bit of chaos. The chaos is normal. I did a video on change a few months back that we talked about the different stages of change, and chaos is one of them. It precedes growth, change. There's a little bit of shaking up. That rattling feeling is totally normal. And again, it doesn't mean you're not doing well. It doesn't. If I were to offer a prescription for this, I think the first thing that we can do is to make what we're feeling real. What I mean by that is not to bury it, not to hide it, not to stuff it. If you think something sucks, it sucks, okay? Call it what it is. I don't like this right now. I'm uncomfortable. I'm rattled. This isn't what I wanted to happen. Call it what it is. Make it real. And then in any way that you can recognize yourself for what you're feeling and what you're going through, honor yourself. That's huge. Self-recognize. Lots of different ways to do that. You could talk it out, at the very least to yourself, or with someone who's great at listening and hearing you and saying, yeah, man, anybody would be a little rattled going through what you're going through right now. Whether you journal and call it what it is on paper, call it what it is, make it real. That way we're not stuffing it. This stuff comes back with a vengeance when we're not feeling it. You might as well call it out and make it real. That was a way of sneaking up. And then making it real sometimes means you might have to feel it, right? Gosh, that can be the hardest part. Oh, wow, what if we cry? I don't really want to cry. I don't really want to feel it that bad. It hurts, it's painful. But if we resist it, how does it really work when you shove down tears? How does that really work for you? Comes up in some ways, doesn't it? In sneaky little ways. Don't resist it. Don't judge yourself for needing to cry. Don't judge yourself for needing to feel it. Don't make yourself wrong for whatever it is you feel about this latest setback. You know, sometimes that feeling of, dang, I was happy. What the hell, setback? Get the heck out. I don't want you here. That in itself is resistance to the situation. As much as you can accept this newest pitfall, as much as you can allow it, as much as you can say it is what it is, will help you start to shift it. It feels like letting go of control actually puts you back in the driver's seat. Hang with me there. We're gonna come back to that. I think you all have heard me say that which you resist persists. It's a fun phrase. The more we resist it, the more energy there is around it, forcing itself back on us. So if you just say, oh, wow, this really sucks, call it what it is, and it is what it is, and stop trying to wish it were a different way. Allow this lesson to hit you like a ton of bricks, as much as you can, maybe one brick at a time. If you dodge it, this stuff is like a boomerang. Squirrel, there it is, it's back. Cute. Sorry. Boomerang, yes. If you dodge this stuff, see how I avoided there? If you dodge this stuff, it comes back. It's just like a boomerang. Allow it, don't resist it, call it what it is. Talk about it, make it real. That's where we're at so far. When you get to this part of acceptance, that's when we start to cope better with these plot twists. That's when we can start adding in the compassion for ourselves, honoring the things that are still coming up as we move through this. And then as soon as you're able to, gratitude for what is. Sometimes these plot twists involve a loss. Sometimes there's a lot of grief. Grief in itself is chaos. As much as we can, focusing on what we do still have. Even if it's little things like, hey, I'm appreciating the punky little squirrel that's running around outside my window. Tiny little things, little bits at a time, as much as you can. Starting to allow in that focus on appreciating what you do still have. Now, coping starts to turn to thriving through this plot twist when we can get to the point of reconnecting to our bigger, deeper why. Why are we in this? What does this mean about us? What are we trying to experience about ourselves? Why are we here? That bigger, deeper why. Who do you want to be for other people? Who do you want to be for yourself? That's when coping starts to turn to thriving, because then you can infuse your next steps with your higher intentions. That's a little bit more than just coping. Then you're really creating some beneficial energy around this setback. That puts you in control. That puts you back in the driver's seat. I want to make this setback about this for me. This is who I'm going to be about it. I read something about not letting this plot twist define you, but letting it refine you. That's when you can look at this as a situation that's polishing you like that gem. Every little facet making you more and more beautiful. This is next level growth stuff, accelerating you to the next big, beautiful thing, way that you are. We're never given something that we can't handle. That's something we could adopt. If we were to adopt that philosophy, would it feel better? Hey, nothing wrong with that. If it just helps us feel better, it helps us navigate, it helps us thrive through the plot twists that are inevitable. Great. If we're never given something that we can handle, that goes back to that trusting the grander picture, trusting the universe a little bit. Yeah. It's about changing with the environment, making ourselves adaptable, resilient, polished facets of that gem, rather than resisting, I don't like the way all of this stuff is happening to me. One way to thrive through this is to take the opportunity to apply this learning, share it with others. Anytime we can share what we're learning, it helps us get the lesson better, deeper, makes us wiser, makes us more resilient. So sharing what you're going through, not only does it help us connect, which is a very important part of our healing, about our existence in general, but what help could you be to someone else for what you're going through? Where's the gift that this becomes for others because of what you're going through? So that connection is a great way to apply that learning, of course, to get the support that we need when we're going through it, but also to get that lesson a little deeper and to help someone else. That really helps us thrive through those plot twists and setbacks when we can notice the contribution we can be to somebody else. It's a big deal. Infusing it with that higher intention, connecting with others, that's what we can do in that thriving part of these plot twists and setbacks. Celebrating those small wins along the way, anchoring it with gratitude all along the way, celebrating those tiny little things. Hey, I was able to recognize myself here. Hey, I was able to share this with somebody else. Hey, I'm making it through. I'm still here. My heart's still beating today, even though all of this stuff is going on. Hey, I put on pants today, even though all of this stuff is still going on. Celebrating those small wins, anchoring it with some gratitude. The bottom line to this conversation about how to deal with life's plot twists and setbacks is that when we cultivate this resilience to our situation, I'm glad this is hitting home. I don't think any of us are alone. It's not like, again, those plot twists are normal. None of us are exempt from having these life setbacks. We might as well talk about it and call it what it is and link arms and support each other. Bottom line, cultivating our resilience to these situations is what raises our happiness quotient. Aha, that's how I bring it full circle. When we can cultivate our resilience, it raises our happiness quotient. That's the takeaway that I want to leave you with. I was reminded that I can let you guys know that this is what I do for a living. I am a certified professional coach. I help people create their own definitions of happiness. If you love what I share and you're thinking, wow, it sure would be great in actually dissolving all of those old ideas of what happiness is and what I should be doing right now, what my life should look like, send me a message. I do offer free 20-minute taster sessions for you to give this a whirl. If you know anyone that this would be perfect for, share this video. Share my page, The Alchemy of Happiness. And I also love that I do these videos for everyone. I want these conversations to be an open space for anyone to come and chat about what is going on with them. You don't have to want to coach with me to know that there is always a chair pulled up here for you. Okay? Thank you for being here today. Thank you always to those of you who catch the replay and tell me how much you're enjoying them. I love hearing that. Thank you for sharing that with me. It means a lot. And we'll do this again soon. Bye.